everybody, hope you're having a good day. Today I'm going to show you how to do an all-in-one armhole and neckline facing. This is the facing that we use on our Betty dress pattern, and here is one I made earlier. So it's joined as one, so it's a special technique on how to put that onto the dress. And I'm wearing a Betty here. This is a John Lewis fabric, which was part of their 150 years celebration last year. And I got some fabric, so I made a Betty in it, one of my favourite Bettys. I've also got a Betty here as well. This is the wool Betty. I wore this for the launch for the Islington shop opening. But yeah, really love this Betty because it looks completely different in this fabric. And here is Lulu. So I've got my ladies with me. Anyway, so to start off with, so if you're following this and you're making the Betty, you want to get the Betty up to this stage. So we've basically stitched the bodice and the skirt together, and we've put the concealed zip in the back, but we haven't stitched the shoulder seams. That's the bit that feels a little bit odd, but we don't want to stitch those because we'll do those when we put the facing on. Then with your facing, if you join your front to your back pieces at the side seams and then overlock or zigzag the bottom edge so that that's ready. So what we need to do now is place the facing right sides together with the bodice, so around the armholes and neckline, lining up the edges, lining up the seams, so make sure your side seams match up, and then there are also notches as well on this to line up with. So pin this all the way around. So here it is pinned all the way around. I'm now going to stitch it, but leaving 5 centimetres at the top of the straps unstitched. So what I'd recommend doing is use a tape measure and mark those 5 centimetre points with a pin so you know where you're starting and stopping as you get to them. So there you can see my stitching stops 5 centimetres from the top of the strap, and I've stitched all the way around the armholes and the neckline. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to clip into the curve of the neckline and also trim some of the seam allowance away. So I've trimmed down the seam allowance and I've clipped on the curves. Okay, so I've turned it the right way round so that the facing is wrong sides together with the dress. And now I'm going to iron my seam allowance onto the facing side. So ironing it over onto the facing, ready for understitching. Okay, so I'm understitching now. Now what an understitch is when you stitch the seam allowance to the facing. So I'm working from the right side. My seam allowance is going in the direction of the facing, and I'm stitching about 2 or 3 millimeters from the seam join. And what this does is it helps keep the facing inside the dress. So you need to come around here as much as you can. You're not going to be able to get up into the thin parts of the strap, so just sew as far as you can. So there's my understitching. You can see it sitting just below the stitch line. And now what we're going to do is join the straps. So this is the confusing bit. So what you're going to do, you've got your dress right side out, and you're going to take your one front strap and one back strap and place them right sides together on the dress side. Okay, so peel back the facings and then line up the shoulder seams, and we're working with the dress side. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is stitch across there. So there it is stitched. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the facing sides and place the right sides together with the front and back straps at the shoulder seams, move this out the way, and now I'm going to stitch that one. So I've just pressed open those seams that I've just stitched, and that's what it looks like. It is a bit awkward when you're pressing them open. You kind of have to come at that side first and then come at that side with the tip of the iron. So now what we've got to do is we've got to close the gaps that are at the sides there. So what you do is you pull the strap inside. So now what I'm doing, so I've pulled the strap to the inside of the dress and I'm going to now line up the shoulder seams. I'm making sure that I don't catch the rest of the strap that's sitting inside there. Okay, let's pull this a little bit more. So I'm going to stitch, close that gap on both sides of the strap. These bits close and I avoided catching the strap on the inside. Make sure you overlap and do a reverse at the start and at the end so that there's no gaps. And then we turn it through. So the beauty is when you pull this through, then it's seamless. Everything is joined perfectly, and all that needs to be done now is a nice press. So I'm going to do the other side and then I'm going to give it a nice press. Okay, so I've just pressed it and now that's it finished. So if we're just showing you there, so there we've got the lovely seam on the back. There we go. So yeah, that is how you sew an all-in-one facing. And here is the finished item. This is my Betty dress with the armhole and neckline all-in-one facing attached. I hope you guys found that tutorial useful. If you haven't yet subscribed to us, do, because there'll be loads more videos like this one coming your way. That's it for now. I'll see you next time. Bye.